Okay.
Okay, Anne and all, we're just going to wait and see if our attendees filling up. We've already got quite a few people joining. Thanks for being here to those that are just coming in. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Ventura, and I'm the Director of Education with the Ontario Association of Residence Councils, the OARC. Our mission is to empower long-term care residents to understand their rights, share their lived experience, and inspire a better tomorrow. We do this by working together with our partners to educate long-term care community and beyond, to build a collective voice, and to create positive culture change. Welcome to OARC's Webinar Wednesday, where we explore topics of importance to residents. Residents across the province have told us that they are interested in learning about how to make their homes more welcoming and inclusive. Today, we're pleased to welcome and partner with Barbara Michalik of the Rekai Centre and Danielle, who will be speaking to us about the Rekai Centre's journey to building a 2SLGBTQI plus inclusive long-term care home and North America's first dedicated rainbow wing. So I'll introduce Barb in just a few seconds, but please join me in a land acknowledgement as we get things started. So we begin by acknowledging that the land from which we join this virtual gathering is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Today, this land remains home to diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, and we are grateful for their historic and continued stewardship of these lands. In Indigenous cultures, many nations have long recognized people who embody both masculine and feminine spirits, now known as the pan-Indigenous term Two-Spirit. This English term was introduced in 1990 as a positive, unifying way for Indigenous LGBTQ+ individuals to connect with their traditions and histories, moving beyond colonial labels and reclaiming roles of deep respect within their communities. Historically, Two-Spirit people often held distinctive responsibilities. They served as healers, knowledge keepers, and visionaries, and were valued for their ability to see multiple perspectives. While the language and roles varied by nation, the underlying recognition was one of honor, not exclusion. Today, acknowledging and centering Two-Spirit people in our inclusivity work reminds us that diversity of gender and sexuality has always been part of Indigenous culture and tradition and continues to be a source of strength. Thank you. Okay, Barbara. So Barb is the
And
Executive Director of Community Academic Partnerships and Programming at the Rekai Centres and has been with the organization since 2008. She oversees the initiatives at the two locations, Sherbourne Place and Wellesley Central Place Long-Term Care, situated in downtown Toronto. She is also involved in the development and design of the new Rekai Centres at Cherry Place, which will support a dialysis center, resident assessment center, and an educational center to support PSW, RPN, RN, and other disciplines related to the healthcare field. Barbara is a graduate of the Social Service Worker Gerontology program at Seneca College with a Bachelor of Arts Sociology degree specializing in gerontology from York University. She's also a part-time faculty advisor in the Social Service Worker Gerontology program at George Brown College and continues to lecture at various academic and community affiliates. She chairs numerous committees and has been responsible for significant innovations at the Rekai Centre's long-term care homes, which have been recognized across Canada and worldwide. The Rekai Centres officially launched the first 2S LGBTQI+ Rainbow Wing in long-term care in North America to support seniors on June 18th, 2022. This initiative of a unit and inclusivity throughout the Rekai Centres has been a journey since 2009. It has been filled with consistent education, champion training, community involvement, and partnerships. And we're so pleased to welcome you and partner with you today on this webinar. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you for everybody for joining us at 2 o'clock on a very, very hot day. So hopefully everybody's keeping cool. Too bad I can't see all the participants, but I'm hopefully that you will gain some insight. We welcome a lot of questions, any type of questions that you may have. And I do also want to introduce Danielle, who is right behind me here. Danielle will be coming in a bit later to discuss programming and various things that surround Residents Council and, of course, the initiative around GSA and the Operations Committee here at the Rekai Centres for the Rainbow Wing. So I'll get started, Stephanie. Thank you. So our agenda looks slammed here, but I promise I won't do a lot of talking. My presentations are usually more interactive and a lot of picture focused, and I don't read slide for slide. So don't get frightened when you see this. We'll be talking about our mission and vision, particularly for the 2SLGBTQI unit, our history with the community, the research that was necessary to make an inclusive environment, and in particularly the Rainbow Wing and the only Rainbow Wing. And Stephanie, thank you for saying North America, but we have realized since 2022 that it is the only one in a long-term care setting in the world. So we are very excited about that. So we do hold our elbows high, like we do here in Canada. So we're very excited about that. We'll talk a little bit about other trailblazers, and of course what we're trying to do and extending not only our Rainbow Wing here, but at our new build. Our plan, and our plan took a long time, and I can explain that. Our partnerships with Home and Community Care, which was formerly the Toronto Central LHIN, which was formerly the CCAC, but now Ontario Health at Home. So again, we will talk about that partnership, various other partnerships, the committees that hold the Rainbow Wing together, and of course, the birth of the Rainbow Wing and some of the events that are around that. Most importantly, our last piece, which is the legacy wall, our partnerships with Pride Toronto, various other seniors events that we've been media coverage and supporting the 2SLGBTQI plus residents, chosen family, and staff at the Rainbow Wing. Of course, we'll share some testimonials, and I believe your team will be sharing this slide if you would like to, or some of the links on this slide, of course. And our website is a very helpful resource tool, which is www.rekaicentres.com.
If I can, before you go on, can you just tell us what that acronym is? The
What
2SLG, all the letters.
You want me to go through all the letters definition-wise?
Yes, just state what it is.
Well, Danielle, you can go right ahead. I want to make this interactive. I just don't want to go through definitions because that's going to take us a long time. And that's an 8-hour series. There we go.
No. I'm just saying, what does it stand? What is the
Sure.
2SLGB? What does it stand for?
2S.
So two-spirited, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, it could be queer or questioning. And then I is for intersex. And then the plus can include things like pansexual. It could include non-binary, an ally, of course.
Okay. So the acronym N is sometimes very different depending on province to city to country. So I believe here in Canada, we're the only ones that use 2S in the front. And typically 2S, two-spirited, was in the back of the acronym. And I believe in 2022, that's when the shift changed to make sure that our two-spirited Indigenous people were at the forefront of this initiative as well, inclusivity and all the EDIs underneath that. So we in 2022 with the acronym, we stopped at I and plus because it started to get longer and longer. Not that we didn't want to extend it, but for some of us to keep it as simple as possible during presentations, during any kind of announcements that we have. But internally, I do want to say that we go through all the, how many are there now?
Like the acronyms. Yeah. I can't even, it's changed so much. I don't have a definite number because it's like QQI, it's TTQQIIAA, then it includes P, then N for non-binary, and then there's another one that I can't think about it. So I think that's probably about, we're at 12 about almost.
So it's about 12 now. So that's why you shocked me a little bit. It's like, oh my God, you want me to go to the definition? We're going to be here all day. But thank you for asking, because some people may not know what 2S means, or L or G or T, but there is a lot more to learn. So it's not just this acronym. There's a lot more to it.
Yep. Thank you.
And it's putting me on the spot here. She's questioning me, huh?
I think about it as a living acronym. It's like a living document. It will continue to change.
Mm.
Okay, so at our Rainbow Wing, we made a mission to have our values documented, and these were really grassroots. And our mission is grassroots. It's from our residents' voices, our chosen family members. And actually, this particular one, this is the original, and many of our residents are no longer with us who built this. So we felt that dedicating their mission and keeping it solid was important to us. So we strive to provide a safe place for older 2SLGBTQI plus persons to host and to find their chosen family members. So we really want to make this a wholesome mission, which, as I mentioned, it's not just the residents, it's the chosen family, but it's the son, the daughter who is from the community, but their loved one may not be. And also the people who work here are contractors to ensure that it is a safe place for everyone. Next. So again, small writing here. So it's a lot of steps that we took to get here. And it's very, very important. So really, we started this initiative in 2009 and only launching the Rainbow Wing in 2022, because it took a long time to make it perfect. And we wanted to ensure that we have made sure all the mistakes were rectified before we can go in the forefront and say, this is what we have created. So starting from 2009, it was important for us to start connecting with community partners. And you can see that extension from 09 to 14, and it continues to today, our research around who is our partners, who are our neighbors, who can help support us in this initiative. Creating a gender sexuality alliance, which is sometimes called a gay straight alliance, and also short form GSA. That is, do you know what that is? Okay, something black came on the screen, but
That's Stephanie's computer, not yours.
okay, that's okay. That's okay. And again, building advisory committees, being on these advisory committees, being and you can see bridging the gap in 2019, where the acronym was very, very different in our PowerPoint here. And that was the first attempt to see, will a rainbow wing stick in long-term care? And we did have this event with Leslie Lee Cam. Many of you may know her as an advocate in the community. And we attempted this and it worked well. So we said, we're going to launch a rainbow wing. We started with our education in 2019, and then something hit that I'm not putting in that PowerPoint is 2020. And I think we all felt the effects of 2020 and COVID. So it put us backwards a little bit, but we continued to do the grassroots stuff that we needed to do. And in 2022, we partnered with Pride Toronto. We partnered with a home and community care, which was then Toronto Central Lynn. Of course, now Ontario Health at Home. Rainbow Wing micro training was done throughout the entire home. We established the Rainbow Wing Operations and Advisory Committee, and I'll talk about those later. And then our events started to happen. And of course, we just finished our last event on the 14th of June and continue to surpass 600 people in our backyard, in and out, which is fantastic. It's not only a seniors event for our community, meaning the Rekai community, but it's our local condominiums, it's our local partners, it's our local community center, it's other LTCs that feel that we have the liberty and we have the strength to do these kinds of events, and they may not. So this is a safe place for everyone in that community. And of course, one of our biggest achievements just this year was our partnership with CLRI. They have asked us to be on the advisory committee for the EDI and inclusion as a showcase home. So next slide.
Well, hang on before you go to the next slide. 2009, whose idea was this?
The residents. And I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. It's the next slide.
Okay.
This is my friend Gordon Sharp. Gordon Sharp lived at the Sherburne location since 2005. He has now passed. You see the photo of him there as a young, handsome man, and then down below a little bit later, and Marilyn, who is the lady in the pink shirt. So Marilyn's husband passed, and he wasn't a very nice man. We all knew that. We could say that. And Gordon and Marilyn grew up in Parkdale, Toronto, here near the waterfront as well. And they reconnected in long-term care as friends. They went to Parkdale Collegiate. They used to go to the old dance halls down on Lakeshore, Palace Royale, and many of probably the younger people online don't know what I'm talking about, but it was a real hub for the club scene down by Lakeshore. And they talked about the good times, and the joke became in the home that they should get married. And Gordon came to me one day. I mean, we had all the departments, nursing was going to get the wedding dress and the tuxedo, and the dietary department was going to make the cake. Of course, activation was going to get the flower girls and the pastor, and everything's going to work out well, and we'll have a reception. It's going to be beautiful. Well, this joke went on for a few months, and Gordon came to me in the basement of Sherburne and said, yeah, I want to talk to you, Barb. And I said, sure. And this was in 2008. And he said, I don't want to marry Marilyn. And I said, oh, you don't have to marry Marilyn. She's too short for you anyways. Look at the height difference. And we made a big joke about this, and we laughed, and then he put his hand on my shoulder, and still feel it today. And he said, Barb, I really don't want to marry Marilyn. And I sensed the urgency at that moment. And I turned to him and I said, no, Gordon, we don't have to marry Marilyn. We're going to put a stop to this right away. For whatever reason, he just wasn't feeling comfortable. And that look on his face, the feeling that he had, his hand on my shoulder, was just something that I can't describe on this call. And I said, don't worry, everything's going to be shut down. No more of this joke, no more nothing. And Gordon said, well, Barb, I'm gay. And we sat in silence for a bit, and he was looking at me and I was looking at him, and I said, well, that's okay. And he looked at me puzzled, and he said, but please don't tell anyone. So that's the journey. That's when it all started for me. That's when it started for the Rekai Centres. Everybody, of course, had their own journey at the Rekai Centres, the residents and staff, but that was the start of the Rekai Centres journey for inclusion. We were very well known as an organization for multiculturalism. We were the first multicultural hospital in all of North America. So this was a true extension of what we were trying to do in the community. And that's where you see the step-by-step of what we try to do with partnering. And it was the growth of this new inclusion at Rekai Centre. Next slide. So, Anne, did I answer your question there?
Yes, you did. You did
Okay,
so.
Good. So, we went through all these educations, we had these partners, and we thought, okay, what do we do with everything that we've accomplished? So we decided to do 3 big community-focused events in 2018. And we had people from the community coming into the Rekai Centre. It was open door policy. Everybody came in here. We had our conference rooms and our community rooms open, and a session about discussing, would this be something that community would need in this particular area, because we are adjacent to the community and it's a lot easier to capture the people here in this community. So overwhelmingly in those sessions, it was unanimous in those community sessions that there was a place that they needed to call home. in whatever setting it was. If it was a community center setting, if it was a long-term care setting, retirement setting, they needed something to call home. So we identified some gaps in those group consultation. If someone had a disability, they weren't able to get here. You know, and in 2018, we weren't very Zoom savvy. This all came later. So we decided that maybe some people weren't out yet and didn't feel like coming to these group sessions and talking about how they're going to live later in life. So we thought, okay, let's apply for a grant, and we did with Ipsos. And we surveyed people over the age of 50 who belong to the 2SLGBTQI plus community in and around this area, other long-term care homes. And our statistics show that 94% were in favor of having a dedicated unit for this population. And I want to make myself clear, it's not a secure unit. It's a home area. The same way a home area is for emotional-based care, same way it is for a Portuguese, Estonian, Chinese area. It's a community-led space. So currently, estimate shows, and these are statistics that are absolutely terrible. We as a whole in Canada do not have the right statistics in Canada for 2SLGBTQI plus elderly people. So in Toronto, this was a very vague result that 65,000 people in the city of Toronto identify being part of that community over the age of 65. But this number is growing. We all see the gray wave coming towards us, and it's coming and it's here. But how many people have actually been able to self-identify or feel safe in those kind of environments? So we decided we're going to open this wing, but of course, COVID hit. So next slide. We did some research in the community. Were we going to be the first? Yes, we were the first. But there were some areas of retirement home and health wellness centers in the UK. Tonic, it's a wonderful video if anybody wants to see it. It's a home out in UK. And of course, there has been some communities in Glasgow and Edinburgh, and typically more older living, 50 plus living environments. So nothing like what we have here in long-term care. So of course, in 2022, we launched the first Rainbow Wing dedicated to seniors. And in 2028, we will launch the second space in Cherry Place. And Cherry Place will be at Cherry and Front Street. And we've also realized that not everybody from the community wants to live near Church and Wellesley. They live everywhere. So we are going to open up a second home, not in the Rainbow Wing, the Rainbow Center, which is Church and Wellesley. Next slide. So 2 wings, one here at Wellesley, which houses 25 people, but we have many people throughout the home who are from the community. This wing, so people from the 4th floor come to the wing, people from the 2nd floor come to the 3rd floor wing, but also some people feel comfortable in where they are because we have had numerous training throughout the building, and not specific to, you know, inclusion as champions for 2SLGTB, but EDI in general, we've had. And I think our unit is now being more specialized around dementia. And when residents who have come out from the, come out with their identities and then later forget with dementia that they did come out. So this is the struggle that we're having here in long-term care. And Danielle can talk a little bit about that later, about how can we help support, the resident, the staff, because we don't know where they are at that moment with dementia. So we need to be equipped with resources. We need to be equipped with support from staff who can come and support that resident on where they are at that time in that moment. Some of this particular generation, unlike the youth today, experience a lot of trauma around being open and in the community. So sometimes that comes back in real life. So yeah. Then we made sure that staff were culturally competent to providing care. We identified staff as members and allies. curated program and catering towards those residents, inclusive environment, including artwork. And you can see that artwork, physical space, the rainbow stickers comes near the end, because that's not our first initiative. The first initiative is education before it becomes physical visibility. And of course, our Rainbow Champion program with elements of EDI, which continues even today. And in October, we'll have our other next one, champion training. So I think everybody's going to be champions in these homes. I don't think we need a wing. I think we just need this whole home to be inclusive. Next slide. So another great support, I say Ontario Health at Home. They've changed their name so many times. So excuse my acronym in that area. So it's CCAC and all that. Yeah. So I beg my pardon. So of course they were a key supporter, and as much as Ontario Health at Home seems to have some challenges in many other areas, they were key supporters in the Rainbow Wing to help us with how do we identify our home as supportive in the 2SLGBTQI+. And they did, and they attended our first event and were quite shocked and are happy promoters of the Rainbow Wing. Next slide. So when people are applying to long-term care, you get a list. And I don't know where that list is here. Too bad I don't have it handy. But there's a list with all the homes and their names, of course, their contact information. But when you come to the Rekai Centres at Wellesley Central Place, you will see a little bracket that says 2SLGBTQI+, Rainbow Wing, 25 beds. And this pamphlet, but this flyer is also given to those people who say, hi, I'm interested in going to Wellesley. They don't have to say, hi, I'm gay, I want to go to Wellesley. Hi, I'm a lesbian, I want to go to Wellesley. They can say, what is all that stuff about Wellesley? Is there any information? And they get this flyer. No one has to be outed. No one has to feel uncomfortable about it. This comes with them. So they know what's happening, what's our mission, why is a Rainbow Wing important, the location, any kind of information, and of course, my information there that they can contact me anytime. And you would be surprised, everybody, how many cold calls I get of people saying, hi, what is long-term care? I need to go somewhere, but I don't know where to go. And those are the cold calls that, keep me going. And I believe Danielle as well, to know that, this space is needed because people are not coming out. They feel isolated and lonely. So how can we approach that in a different way to have them supported? Next slide. And of course, we needed some committees to make sure that we hold this glue together. Our advisory committee is run by a lot of our community members. This includes Dr. Marcus Law has stepped down for a bit, but he pops in and out every once in a while. He's been promoted at UFT, and I get it. He's a doctor. I mean, as long as we have him as a standing member, it's okay. St. Mike's Hospital, Casey House, Pride Toronto, Seniors Pride Network, Family Services Toronto, the Archives, Rainbow Health, and so much more that help support the Rainbow Wing in the changes, the environment changes, the evaluating process. What are our strengths and weaknesses? Where do we need to improve? And how do we ensure that the operations committee is supported? And when Danielle from the operations committee is the grassroots. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the operations and the residents and.
Hello. So the operations committee is comprised of the sort of like the inner community within the home. So the staff who are the ones who completed their champions programming, family members, chosen family, friends, POA, so powers of attorney, anyone who wants to get involved in looking at what is actually happening on the front lines and operationally within the home in regards to the Rainbow Wing and the residents from the community. And so we meet quarterly to try and get what is it that the residents and our champions are feeling needs to happen more in the home, and help start those initiatives and advocate for our residents. So it's always a constant feedback loop of ways to make it better, ways to make improvements, but we're getting the buy-in from everybody as opposed to it just being directed from top down. But everybody gets involved and feel like a part of the home, and that their initiatives, their contribution also matters, and that they're part of what makes having this 2SLGBTQI plus unit so groundbreaking around the world. So that it gives that sense of pride as well, and staff employment satisfaction. It's like, yeah, I come from Rekai, and these are the things that we've done, and these are the things that I've participated in.
It's great that
Yeah.
Danielle mentioned that, because usually it's the advisory committee that's advising, the operations, but actually the operations is advising the advisory committee. So if they need to make changes, we're the ones that get the grants. We're the ones to provide them
Uh,
with whatever resource. So it's a really grassroots, flipped around kind of concept, which works really well. So I think that answers your question of who's making these design changes? Who's making them? So residents. And that's what's most important, right?
and that's
Next
what it
slide.
should be.
Here. So said, how are we going to make this happen in 2022? How is that unit going to look any different? And of course, our residents said, oh, well, we need paint, we need this, and we need that. And so that was our advisory's journey to start moving and putting our muscle to our mouths and getting what we needed. So it was Andrew that we've contacted, and he was a local artist from the community. He was very interested about what is this rainbow wing, and he was doing art throughout Cabbagetown. And I invited him to come in and say, join with our residents and see what kind of artwork they like, because we wanted to rainbow. Like, our residents don't like rainbows. I'm sorry to let you know that. They think it's very childlike. They think they don't want to see just rainbow. There has to be some meaning around it. And that was clear from the beginning, that it wasn't just a rainbow flag. You had to feel it when you came here. So he pitched the residents these doors, and he painted it pro bono. And our residents, of course,
Nice.
advised them throughout the way, throughout the night. This is not that way, this way. And Andrew has actually a still video on YouTube that showcases him fast forward doing the artwork, and you see the wheelchair stopping and moving and stopping and moving, and it's great. So next slide. So we decided on 3 phases, and this just finished this May of this year. So the first phase was the transformation of the wing, and it meant, what is the rainbow? So our residents asked the question, what does a rainbow mean to you? And most of us looked around, I'm like, it's a rainbow flag? I don't know, and we did some digging with a student partnership. I believe it was with TMU and also with Trent University. And we looked up the Gay Pride Day that was held in San Francisco in June 25th in 1978. Of course, there were some colors removed, like turquoise, but they said, you tell me what those colors mean, and you put them up on the wall. So we thought, oh, okay. We did our research. Each color meant something to the community in 1978.
Wow.
Each color had a definition, a
Wow.
representation. And of course, the original colors are the ones up on the top. Black, brown, and the trans colors came later. But they said, okay, let's work with these colors and create a unit that defines what these colors mean. So we did that. Next slide. Here we go. Before, those beautiful sterile hallways became these images of color. So when you come on our unit, the flag is represented, but you have to walk through the entire the unit, which is a square shape, from the red to the orange zone, to the yellow zone, to the green zone, to the blue, and we end near the end. And it's actually definitions are put up on the wall of what that color means, so people are reminded what those things meant to those people who advocated for the rainbow flag.
Mm.
Next. Phase 2, really important. And this is where we go into the other colors that weren't part of the original. And many of our seniors said, wait a second, there are these new initiatives around the progress flag. What does that all mean? So not only was it a learning point for our residents who came from a different generation. It was also a learning for all of us. Even people from various cultural communities who didn't know what these colors meant. So Walter, who's there, is a local artist and a friend of one of the residents here that we have, and decided to design the Progress flag with its meanings as well, just like all the other colors. Next slide. Phase 3, which is our completed phase, and you can see the beautiful color. It's called our legacy, otherwise known as a history wall. This is very, very important. The last phase of what the residents wanted on this unit. They wanted to be remembered. It's not about a pride parade. It's about the advocacy. It's about the fights. It's about the, everything that they've built to make it so welcoming today. And I know so welcoming, but it's quite the difference from the 50s to today.
Yep.
And they wanted that to be showcased. Everything from the two-spirited Indigenous, the wall. So each zone has a timeline of events. Each of these representations on these walls are artifacts and true images, tactile components that are up and down the hallway telling you what this all represents for the community. We focused in the downtown Toronto community, but also focused on Canada, like marriages and whatnot. So some of the tactile things you can see on the far left side is the original AIDS pins that were circulated during the 80s and 90s. We have the top right, which is the Charles Street whistle. Charles Street whistle was used by gay men to notify people who were going into the club scenes to get out because there was going to be a raid, and that was on Charles Street in the downtown core. Again, gloves from what's her name, Ross. She went by one of the original drag queens. It's actually her original gloves. So fantastic. It's a walk through history. Next slide. So some of our events, then it just became bigger and bigger. I mean, we had 100 people, then we had 200, then it was 3 and 6. So this is, yeah, so this is some of our posters. Next slide. This is just this last year. Now we're trying to feature more of our people who live here. And of course, we have Safonda there because everybody knows her. But we have some of our residents actually being featured in these posters because they are lively. They're from not just from the community, but they're living, they're breathing, they have something to say. And it's so important that everybody knows that we're not dead yet here. We have a lot to say.
Yep.
Next. So again, just a number of pictures. A lot of dignitaries come here, but we're trying to shy away from that now. And you can see how many people in our backyard. It's quite the circus. Next slide. Just some more pictures about our events. We tried to focus in a lot of community artists, just to give everybody a change. Safonda is one of our biggest promoters, so she always ends our event, which is fabulous. And key partner, Pride Toronto, which is Kojo there up at the top, who helps support us as well. Next. Here's Danielle with the programming.
Hello. So from a programming perspective, so I'm the manager of programs, and before I became manager of programs, actually I started as the Rainbow Wing lead. And so my focus and goal was to start developing programs for our Rainbow seniors. Outside of the GSA that was already established, we realized that we needed more programs that included them. So I think part of our privilege sometimes is we never think about how we censor ourselves when we become that sort of minority or marginalized small group or person in a larger group. So for instance, if it's, it might be 2 or 3 women in a large group of men. It could be people who use mobility aids. in a group of people who don't use mobility aids. It could be, whatever your ethnic or cultural background versus an anglicized, a larger anglicized population. And so you wind up doing self-censorship. So not only is it the concern about being in the closet, but what makes this a safer place to be is now there's an opportunity for you to actually be yourself. And
Yeah.
so that self-censoring doesn't have to happen. You can like let your hair down and let those sassy words fly if you need to, or to actually open up and make yourself vulnerable and share maybe a traumatic or upsetting experience in your life without having to feel like you have to justify why you felt that way because somebody who hasn't that lived experience didn't experience it. So this was an opportunity to really open up our residents from the community to be who they are, and then create and generate this sense of belonging. So one of our more popular programs, speaking to the history and the legacy wall, is, it's what was the contribution that people from the community have made to the world and the society and the country and the province. And so we do what's called the Rainbow Icons program, which is featuring different advocates. It could be politicians, it can be singers, it could be artists, it could be dancers, comedians. And it's a chance to say, oh yeah, we did, have a role to play in society. We did shape and mold the culture, and particularly popular culture. And we did really work hard to make changes in the law and human rights. And it's good to have that. I think for some to be refreshed or, sort of let them know that, yes, remember this is an important contribution from your community, so you should be proud of it. And also as as a maybe a first time initiative to say, oh, I didn't realize that we actually did contribute this much. Um, so that's become a really popular program. And another program that was initiated from a group of students was called the Rainbow Cafe. And you can see that picture down there at the bottom. Was that my right? And so it was to open it up to not just the Rainbow seniors, but to allies, potential allies as well. So it's a kind of a slash kind of education and then sort of like a food social at the same time, so that it's a much more casual and relaxed atmosphere, so that everyone can really focus more on the socializing, but the education piece gets snuck in there, right? So
Yeah.
that those who are allies, particularly from, I think, the older generations, I'm sure there was like a lot of allies who would have been in the closet as well, because they wouldn't want to have been targeted as saying, well, you're supporting people from that community, right? So this
Yeah.
also gives them the opportunity to say, yeah, I am supportive and I would love to know more, because maybe back in my, prime time, I never had that opportunity. And now there's that opportunity to do that. And also to keep, this generation up to date on what's happening in the current generations. What all the fighting and the advocacy and the changes in the law, what, it's what, how has that impacted the current and new generations going forward? Now
Yeah.
they can be more open. Now like the new thing with the pronouns and the non-binaries and the asexuals, like that's all new things that are coming out to this older generation that might have not been out at that time, right? So that Rainbow Cafe really kind of helps facilitate that sort of need to learn. And then we
Great
also
idea.
do, we also do our cabaret, which is basically just like bringing back the nightlife. It's not all just about presentations and lectures, right? You got to have fun too, because that's the way it's always been when we were in our prime of life, right? 20s, 30s, our 40s, we're out there hitting the clubs, going to a bar, seeing some performers, having a beer, glass of wine or something, and just enjoying your night. So I bring out the glow sticks and we put on the disco music and we get the cocktails going and just have a good old fashioned bar night. So
Nice.
it's like,
Nice.
that's what the St. Charles Tavern and the Boots and, and the church, the Wesleyan Church Village, was all about that nightlife and socializing. And so just because you come into long-term care doesn't mean that ends. And so these are really easy programs for other homes to kind of initiate, because a lot of it is really a modification of whatever current programs we have. And then we're changing the focus to allow for that safer space and for our residents to feel vulnerable and to open up. And for those residents who still want to remain in the closet because they don't feel comfortable, they can still attend it and under the guise of being an ally, because we don't focus on it in that sense. We
Yeah.
don't say, well, you have to come out, or what do you think? It's open to everybody. All are welcome. That's what we put on our daily posters. So it's a chance for everyone to just figure it out on their own terms, what they want to do and how they want to disclose. And we provide the tools and that mechanism for it through our programs.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Next slide. So again, in initiatives being supported. So many people who are on this call may think, oh my God, how are we going to make this happen? And it starts off really grassroots. And as Danielle mentioned, it's these small little events that don't cost a lot of money that can get the word out there. And then once you get really established, as you can see, my grant applications for 2024, I got 20,000 to support 2 years of
Wow.
programming. And then Danielle doesn't know this, but I just got 150,000 from TD again to make these
Wow.
innovative programs. But these programs are bringing community members who are in the community who may be isolated, bringing them into our community. So it's 2SLGBTQI seniors living outside of the long-term care home and supporting our insight. So it's supporting both
Yeah.
and looking at, let's say, art therapy. There's an art therapist out there. They can come in here. We'll support them as well as they support our residents. So super cool. Advocacy, I do want to mention, it never stops. We're continuing to advocate, and I am now advocating for the last year, and I'm not going to finish until we get a designation where 2S LGBTQI community members who are living in the community have priority access to wings like this, and hopefully there'll be more. Bill 7 was introduced in 2022, which sparked a lot of concern for long-term care homes. So I'm trying to smash that a little bit, and I will be successful because the cultural homes are now in advocacy piece for allowing priority services for that. So I'm really advocating for community members who are, who need long-term care home can come to the right long-term care home. And not to say that everyone is wrong, but we have special resources and services that really can help them, especially when we talk about dementia. Next slide. So I'm not going to get into all this media coverage. We get a lot of media coverage, and people approached me in June. I said, don't bother us. We're having a good time. That's our celebration month. So please, for any long-term care homes or anybody who's on this call, please try to do this not just in June. It's actually a big turnoff for people in the community. Doing an education session in January, in March, in December, in September, that's what community members need to hear, is that it doesn't stop and it's not just in June. So I implore all of you guys to do those education sessions in other times of the year. Next slide. Again, just some media about what other people are doing and what they're trying to do throughout Canada. Next slide. Here are what does sex look like in long-term care for partners. So again, another great article that was supported by us. Next slide.
Yeah, Barbara, just wanted to share with the audience that this presentation will be, and the recording of the webinar will be made available on our website and will be mailed out to everyone who registered. So if you have some curiosity about these articles and these links, you'll have an opportunity to go back and see them.
Yep.
Perfect. Also, there's your picture. See that? So we were just featured in and you may know CLRI, Ontario Centres for Learning and Research and Innovation. They spotlighted our home as, I don't want to say, the one with we glowed a little bit. So, our inclusion and our rainbow wing, we're very proud of. it took a lot of hard work, and it's hard work today. So please take a look at the article about, our spotlight feature for CLRI. Next slide. So again, speaking engagements, we love to speak. Can you tell? We like to be we don't typically like to do it in this kind of fashion. We like to walk around the room, and we like to do creative things with people, and be very interactive. But we've done a number of sites, and I think this is my second time with Residents Council of Ontario. Am I right? Stephanie, am I right?
Yes.
Second
Yep.
time? Yeah.
Second time.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
next slide.
Oops.
And this is one of our biggest pieces that I implore everyone. If you're going to do something like this, please get education. And my email is there as well. If you're looking to find out some strategies around starting a rainbow wing or a dedicated space, and I know many of you may think, oh, we don't have time. We don't have that many residents who are from the community. It doesn't need to be an entire wing. We're lucky because we're near the hub of the queer community. But you can start off with a nook or a little corner that shows people in the home that you're inclusive. And we're able to help support that through education. We have all-day education with Rekai Centres and Martin, who is one of our champion leads for education. And this is my second time actually going out to Sudbury to support them in the creation of areas of their home that could be more inclusive. So please feel free to reach out if you're interested in this education for a long-term care home or a dentist office, for crying out loud. Anything. Yeah. Next slide. These are just testimonials. Again, we're gloating a little bit. But we hope that you can also gloat when you create a safe space in your agencies or organizations. Next slide. So it's going to be the question and answer period, but I have a 2-minute video that I would like to show you so you can feel what we really do here at Rekai. So please take a look. It's only about 2 minutes long, and I'll let you know when to stop.
LGBTQ plus seniors living in long-term care, they face more discrimination than acceptance. That's why I was so excited to visit the Rekai Centre here in Toronto. They have the only rainbow wing in all of North America, which is a wing dedicated entirely to LGBTQ plus residents. Take a look. Barbara, you first got the idea for the rainbow wing in 2008. What inspired you?
So what inspired me was one of our residents. And the resident came to me and said, disclosed that he identified with the community. But what triggered me was his grip on my shoulder. And he pleaded, just don't tell anyone. Oh. And that hit me in a way that I've never been hit before. And I knew this was a new venture for me.
You have a Champions program that trains staff on how to make safer spaces for residents. Can you tell me about that?
It's about how the champions are prepared with resources, how they can answer the questions and be the ones when there's trauma, to be the person to go to. And they can go in silence. They don't have to say, I'm gay and I need support, or I'm queer and I need support, but they can go to that person because they're identified by a pin and a sticker.
Right.
And they're a safe person.
Sorry, we didn't pay for the full version of YouTube, so we'll have just a little commercial break.
Oh, that's
Chill, take it slow.
Sorry, guys.
David, you were living here in this residence and got to see the rainbow wing sort of come to life.
Yes.
It must be gratifying to live in a place like this where you can be yourself.
It is nice not to have to worry about some of the things that happened to me.
Is the rainbow wing sort of where a lot of the fun happens?
In the last month, I have had a much happier experience. It's more that I have become part of the whole establishment and feel at home.
Is there an event or a day of the week you get especially excited about?
Well, I enjoy going to bingo.
It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you ever win at bingo?
Well, I usually do.
You win some, you lose some, right?
No, I lose some. I win a lot.
Danielle, you are the manager of programs and volunteer services. Is there a program that is near and dear to your heart?
Oh yes, it's my cabaret program that I run. We have it in the evening, and it's like I'm trying to recreate what it was like when our residents were younger and going to the clubs. I think part of the whole purpose of the Rainbow Wing is just bringing that culture. It's bringing that culture here, right, and making our residents feel like they haven't really left the community.
Mm-hmm. Are they a tough crowd?
No, they love the
They
party.
do?
They love the party.
Neville and Charles, how long have you two been together?
15 years.
15 years.
16 years. I made him promise he would give me 10 good years, and he did.
And he did.
And he did, before he had to come here. Before I couldn't take care of him.
You couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to you that Neville is in a residence such as this?
It's great. I don't have to worry. They care for him.
There's a lot more trust for you, though.
Yeah. I have a lot of trust for the people here, a lot.
What are some of the activities that go on that he gets included in?
One of them was a drag queen brunch. I try to get him to go to all the outings that I think are interesting.
When you two came into this room, it's like Neville saw the camera lights. Look at that smile. It's $1 million smile, truly.
Oh, wow.
All smiles.
Hi, everybody. Rob Johnson, principal and
That's it. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I know we have like 4 minutes for questions, but we're welcome to come back to Residence Council anytime for question and answer period, even if you have a meeting scheduled. But if you have any questions, then please go ahead.
I was going to say you've got, is it 25 beds or 22 beds? How many beds?
So we have 25 dedicated beds on that unit, but 150 beds here.
So you got 25 beds dedicated for 65,000 people just in Toronto.
Correct.
It's mind-boggling. Do you get
It's
people from around the country asking or coming to you and saying, how did you do it? And what do we do? And
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why the training is important. So feel free to anybody to email me and, how can we do this? How can we make a start? Because it's not easy. You really need allyship. You need you need that support, and it just can't be one person. It's a big ownership for one person. So I'm lucky I have my right hand here, because I would be on it alone in it alone. But again, having everybody on board it is important.
Yeah, you can never. Neither of you can quit. Okay.
No.
Barb
No.
and Anne, I have some comments in the Q&A that have come in during the session. We have someone from Ontario Health at Home who's a care coordinator, and just wanted to thank you so much for sharing this information. They're going to share it with their colleagues, and they're looking forward to helping future residents who are applying to ensure they're able to access this home. Another participant says, you guys are amazing, no question. They're a member of the community and they appreciate everything you're doing. Keep up the amazing work. If it's okay.
Just to add, Stephanie, so for anybody on the Ontario Home and Health, Jason and Rachel were key supporters. And I do want to mention their names. So if there's anybody on the call, it is Jason and Rachel who spearheaded this with us. So please reach out to them and reach out to me, and we can make a connection for sure.
Yeah, thank you. And you've noted the time, it's 2:59, and I think Anne and I are okay to go through a few more questions if you have a couple more minutes, and
Sure.
anyone who's participating now, this is being recorded, so you'll have access to the full recording if you need to drop off now. But just to get any of those questions in through the Q&A, and Anne's got some as well.
Yeah. I was going to ask, or at least one of the questions is, how is the inclusive home area integrated with the rest of the home?
So like the way our physical space is created, it's like a one floor, and then it's divided into two units. So we have like an east and a west, and there's double doors, but they're open. So residents have free access to roam all about the home's properties, regardless of which unit that they live on. Because also from a programs perspective, we have lots of activity rooms on different areas of the home, and they all serve a different purpose. So we want those residents to move about. At the end of the day, it's a resident's home, and they should feel free to roam and safe to roam and go wherever they want it and do whatever they want, in terms of that sort of like leisure practice and activity. There's no sort of like, oh, you can't get into this unit because it's only exclusively for
Right.
this group. It's
Oh,
open.
good.
Anybody can go. If I'm doing a program on the Rainbow Wing, that doesn't mean everybody else can't come up. And to be honest, a lot of our programs, are particularly Rainbow programs, are more highly attended programs.
And usually on the
Okay.
main floor
Usually
because
on the
we
main
just don't
floor
have
now,
the
'cause-
capacity.
Yeah, because more and more people want to attend them.
Well,
Well, yeah,
sure.
I
The more
think
the merrier.
Anne and I kind of want to attend some of those, especially that cabaret you have going. I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you if you ever invite residents who maybe don't live, well, residents from other
Yeah,
long-term care
Yeah,
homes in the community.
absolutely.
Yeah, if
In
you'd
other
ever
words,
have like
everybody's welcome.
Yeah,
Yes,
all
absolutely.
are welcome. That's our motto.
it's awesome.
Uh, a question I'm not sure that it needs an answer. I think you've already given it to us. What percentage of residents identify as members of the LGBT community? I think that if you've got 100 people in the and 22 are in a dedicated wing, the answer is 22%.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but we also are condescending about residents who don't want to be on that unit, even though they're strongly self-identified. But we still have residents who we know are from the community, but don't still feel comfortable
Yeah.
to be
Okay.
identified. So our number is pretty high percentage here. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a sticker on your forehead to tell you who
Right.
you are, right?
Yeah.
So that's important. And our staff, I mean, we have quite a number, but it seems like we just don't talk about that anymore. And we talk
Yeah.
about we're human beings, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. Is residents' privacy a concern? I think you've answered that too. It's not, because you have the right training and people are, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do residents still have access to supports in the community, or are these available through the home? Well, I think you've answered that too. Yes, they
Yeah, you know,
have anything they need.
something that you mentioned, Barb, about the grants that you've received and how you're using them to help the residents in your home, but you're also being mindful of contracting members of the community as well. So if you're going to hire an entertainer or something, you're reaching out to the community members. So everyone is benefiting from these grants. I thought that was really such a
Yeah.
great thing to think about. We have
Oftentimes we think the only people who are isolated are the ones living in long-term care or a shelter, but we
Yeah.
also have to remember that there's so many people living in a condo or an apartment
Yeah.
that are feeling isolated, right? So I think trying to bring them out and letting them know that it is a safe place here where they can showcase their own professionalism and something that was very dear to them, like maybe playing the guitar, teaching a resident how to play guitar. So again, making those partnerships and connections.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And,
Anne,
and,
do you have any
and
more questions? Because
yeah,
we've
just
got a couple. Yeah.
yeah. How do you know the initiative is working? And I think again you've answered this, because it's working because people are calling you and asking you how you did it. So I think the answer is yes. You know it's working.
Yeah. Thanks, Anne. Thanks for reading and posing those questions that came in through registration. We do have a couple in the Q&A that have just come in. This one is actually from OARC's Executive Director, Dee. Dee wanted to share with everyone that OARC is a member of the Cultural Homes Advisory Group with the Ministry of Long-Term Care, and we advocate that the community is included in that this community is included in the definition of culture, so that preferential admission status is given to people waiting for long-term care homes who identify with a certain culture. Thank you for your wonderful presentation, and it's confirmed our stance on this topic. Thank you so much for being here. And one more from Dee. How do you ensure that all 25 spaces are reserved or prioritized for the community and aren't filled with other people who need long-term care spaces but who may not be part of the community? If you have an empty
So-
space, is there pressure to have someone move in to the Rainbow Wing who doesn't want to be part of the Rainbow Wing?
Yeah. And that's why this designation is so important. And I know Dee is on that. So I was on that exact same committee, but they took me off of the committee because the regulations are cultural, meaning linguistic, but it has nothing to do with the preference of the 2SLGBTQI. That's not part of the regulations. Until the regulations are changed, and that's what I'm advocating for, is you can't change that reg without, like, I can't make that unit be created without changing that regulation. So that's the designation that I'm looking for. Yes, cultural, but we're still not included because the regs need to change. So yes, we come to, and that's why that flyer that I showcased earlier was so crucial. Because when someone is applying and they see 2SLGTB, and if you were really adamant as a resident or a family member to say, I don't like that, I don't want to be around that, I know, that is already a key identifier that we don't need you here. So we have to work in silence. And sometimes those images, those words make a huge difference. So when someone is coming into the home, we do internal exchanges, but we can't let somebody who's waiting for long-term care, regardless if it's the wing or not. But we've been very lucky that the people who are applying to this home, even if it was at that time during the Rainbow Wing launch, that they are from the community, or they feel that their son or their daughter who's bringing their loved one here is from the community. So remember, it's a multifaceted kind of community building.
Yeah, something I wasn't expecting, or maybe I hadn't thought of it, was in the video clip from the interview. They interviewed those two gentlemen who were a couple, and I had never actually thought about the other partner who's not living in long-term care, and some of the challenges and difficulty of even when you apply, right? When you apply for long-term care, the form might not show that that's an option, right? It's and even just going in for visits and just some of the assumptions that are made, right? So thanks for sharing that clip with us. It's really given me some new things to think about, and showing that it's not just about the person who's living in the home, but all of the people around them. And I think you guys have both done such a great job at presenting that to us and sharing all of these wonderful programs and ways that you make something that may be difficult seem easy enough to do, right? And
I agree.
I mean, you have
Blood, sweat,
shared
and tears.
you have shared that it's always advocacy. You never have a moment's rest, but you can see in both of your faces that it's keeping you going, and it's you found your reason, right? So we're so honored to have had you here with us today, and hope that everyone in the audience and even those who watch this at a later date, watch the recording, receive your slides. We know they're going to get something from this, and the ripple effect. We're so excited for the ripple effect of this presentation. So thank you so much. For those who are still watching, if you haven't had a chance to fill out the evaluation, please, for this webinar so we could share with our lovely presenters. And thank you again, Anne, Barb, and Danielle.
Maybe I'll take a minute to thank you as well for coming and saying this, because it's really, really, really good. Almost speechless, which never happens to me.
Never.
So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you all for having us. And you know, any moment that we can showcase what or how we can help facilitate a safer space anywhere is our passion. So I'm glad we had a little break on that commercial. So I hope we can see that little icebreaker. That's a good one. So we didn't plan for that, but that's a good icebreaker. Thank you for giving us that.
Thank you, guys. Okay, wishing everyone a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Steph.
you. Bye.